Let me introduce myself. My name is Mann Rentoy. I have been a teacher for more than 30 years. And last year, Character.org, an international conglomerate of institutions pushing character formation, gave me the recognition of being the international champion for character for 2022 because of my campaign to push character formation for the last 12 years. Although I've been teaching for more than 30 years, in the last 11 years, I've spent more time going around the Philippines and around the world, reaching out to teachers like you to make character formation a top priority. Okay. That's why most likely some of you may have even attended some of our past sessions on character formation. Okay, Maria Nima is planning to teach next year. Good. This is going to help you in having the proper attitude, mindset, disposition in being the best teacher you can possibly be. Hopefully, this seminar, this session today will inspire you, will empower you. Okay, so let's talk about the topic for today. Two things. We're going to really look into the mindset and disposition to be successful teachers. Okay. In fact, I would say the 5 seminars that are scheduled today, starting today and then ending next week, are nothing else but an invitation to everyone. Let us be the best teachers we can possibly be because, as you're going to see, the young people need us very badly. Need especially teachers who are going to make a difference in the lives of people. Okay? And that's our concern today. How to be successful teachers by having the right mindset and the proper disposition. Dear teachers, you are more than just a teacher. Okay? We teachers can sometimes be described as dream builders. We are responsible for helping young people build their dreams. We are enablers. You can even say, like the uh, famous vloggers and YouTube personalities, we are also influencers because we influence the young people. Truth is, some of us maybe decided to become teachers because we were inspired, influenced by some great teachers that we've had in the past. And many times, more than just being a math teacher, a science teacher, or an English teacher, we are even, in fact, mentors, guides of our students. In my 30 plus years inside the classroom, I have experienced students coming to me to ask for advice, questions that have nothing to do with the subject, but about life, about their problems with their parents, about their fight with their siblings, or about being turned down by the girlfriend, busted. Uh, and you cannot say, ay, iho, wala akong kinalaman sa mga problema mo sa buhay. Wala yang kinalaman sa subject ko. Of course not. Someday, if it has not yet happened to you, lalapit ang mga estudyante sa iyo para magtanong tungkol hindi sa subject mo, kundi tungkol sa buhay o kaya tungkol sa problema na kanilang hinaharap. And sometimes these are problems which are very serious, very intimate, that they will say, I cannot open up to my mom about this. Magagalit siya sa akin. And then they will open up to you. They trust you. They trust of a teacher. Sometimes we are more than just, I mean, not just sometimes, but there will be many times in our life when we will be more than just a subject teacher. to our students. And then they will look at us as their heroes. Such is the life of a teacher. Such is our life. Okay, now I need you to speak up, especially those of you who are on your first year as a teacher. Kindly please type in the chat box, what are your biggest fears as a new teacher? Share mo sa amin sa chat box. What is it that you are, I don't know, what is it that you are scared of as a teacher? What are you most afraid of as a new teacher? Is it estudyante na walang disiplina? Is that what you're most afraid of? Or is it um, biglang may magtatanong sa'yo ng question ng mga estudyante na ang feeling mo hindi mo kayang sagutin? What is it or what are your biggest fears as a teacher? Share with us in the chat box. I'll give you a few moments to think about and then to share with us in the chat box what are your biggest fears as a new teacher. Yeah, if you don't want to share with everyone, naiiyak kayo or something, you can send it as a direct message. Okay? Okay, somebody mentioned here, ang biggest fear niya is yung to balance empathy as a teacher and to be a disciplinarian. Okay, good. I can imagine a teacher will feel like that because siguro you've had experience with teachers who were terror teachers and nasa loob ninyo, nasa isip ninyo, may I never be a terror teacher na kinatatakutan ng mga estudyante. That is my biggest fear. I don't want that. But at the same time, you wouldn't want to be like some teachers maybe that you also had na para bang ano, yung dahil sa kanilang kabaitan, the students took advantage of. And then, somebody mentions here, biggest fear niya is to lose control of the class. Ayan. Kaya one of the subject matters, one of the topics that we're going to talk about is precisely on classroom management. Another teacher here talks about lesson delivery. Ang biggest fear niya is, paano if I don't deliver deliver well? Okay, that's her biggest fear. Si Remy Rojas shared with us different attitude of the students. That is true. Iba-ibang klase yung mga bata na ngayon, ano? Especially ang disiplina, attitude ng mga kabataan ngayon. It can be very challenging. And I will understand if some teachers, that's their biggest fear. What if you have a student who comes to your classroom with an attitude? Yan. Yung mga napapanood lang natin sa sine dati. And then we see them inside the classroom. Not being able to trust, my biggest fear as a new teacher, yung hindi ko masatisfy yung students sa kung paano ako magturo. Yung feeling ko kulang yung pagtuturo ko even if I review my lesson before the class itself. That's a very valid fear, ma'am. That's a very valid fear, and that's the reason why we need to have first a disposition that I want to be the best teacher I can possibly be. And the question is, how? How can I do it? Well, those are the things we're going to answer precisely these next 5 days. Aside from how do you manage the class? How do you get the class to do what you want them to do without you resorting to shouting, screaming, and yelling? Ma'am Ricalin, your concern about dealing with parents, that's a very valid concern. In my 30 plus years inside the classroom, one of the toughest is dealing with sometimes impossible parents. I'm sure you've heard of an expression like that. Impossible parents. Magkakaroon kami minsan ng mga magulang na pag ang bata bumagsak, sisisihin ang eskwelahan, ang teacher, ang subject, ang DepEd, sisisihin ang buong mundo except themselves. Ayan. And then they come to your classroom asking for an explanation bakit bumagsak ang anak nila. Parang gusto mong sabihin, eh, hindi naman kasi nag-aral ang anak ninyo, ma'am. Eh, hindi naman kasi nag-aaral ang anak. Tamad ang anak ninyo. But they cannot hear that. They don't want to hear that. So, yes, that's a fear. That's a very valid fear. Si Ma'am Nima, ang kanyang biggest fear, I'm a slow learner type of person. Baka mas matalino pa ang mga bata sa akin. Discrimination din. You have to have confidence in yourself, ma'am. Nakapasa kayo ng lab, nakapasa kayo ng college, ang mga estudyante ninyo nasa natututo pa lang, nag-uumpisa pa lang mag-aral. And so you just have to have confidence in yourself. We're going to build on that. We're going to talk about precisely how to work on becoming a successful teacher in more ways than simply covering the curriculum. That we are not effective. So many of you are talking about the fear of baka hindi ako maging effective teacher. Well, the good news is there are so many materials that are available to help us be super successful teachers. And I'm going to share some of them with you, some even for free. I mean, most of them are for free. I'm going to share with you. Mamaya, for example, before we end the session today, I'm going to give you the link to more than 150 webinars on how to be super successful, how to create a kind of training classroom, how to do classroom management in a very effective way. Seminars from Dr. Harry Wong, Dr. Hal Urban, Dr. Fred Jones, some of the best teacher trainers in the world, and I'm going to share with you the link to those seminars, recorded webinars. Okay, great. So let's fear of not managing the class properly. Jovi, I feel you. That's one of the biggest fears of many teachers. And we are going to talk about how we can address that fear, how we can manage the class in an effective way, especially when we come to that session on classroom management. Last, before we proceed on, sabi ni Ma'am dito, I want to be a special ed teacher. My fear would be how me and my students would collaborate effectively to be able to deliver to my kids the kind of learning they deserve, same as that of the normal ones in an inclusive education. Okay. Thank you so much for sharing all these fears. And as I said, these are very valid fears, and we're going to help you. Precisely, if we have the proper disposition and mindset, all these fears we will be able to address. Okay? And this is the reason why, well, we decided to organize this series for new teachers, because teachers, you're very important. If you are empowered, you will be more innovative and effective inside the classroom. And that is our concern. We want you to be innovative, creative, and effective as classroom teachers. Nasa kamay ninyo ang kinabukasan ng maraming kabataan. Because many of you said that you're on your first year as a teacher, this is your first year, you have to have that mindset that you are not just covering the curriculum. You are here to make an impact in the lives of people. You are in this profession that is capable of making an impact in the lives of people. And that's why if you do your job well, if you become an effective teacher, if you become an empowered teacher, the students will benefit, the whole education system will benefit, and the whole Philippines will benefit, and the whole world will benefit. That is how important you are, my dear new teachers. And this is the reason why this session is very important. We need you to have the proper disposition, to have the proper mindset that you can be super successful, effective teachers because we need you in the profession. You know, sabi ng research, the number one reason many teachers leave the profession is failure in classroom management. Pag dumating yung punto na the teacher loses control of the class, cannot discipline the class, cannot control the class, that many times is the top reason why some decide to leave the profession and look for something else. But we're going to help you. Precisely, we want you to be able to manage the class effectively so that you stay on and become master teachers and spend many, many years impacting the lives of many, many students. We need you. Before we proceed, I'd like to share with you my principles of education that I picked up in my 33, at this point, it's really 33 years that I have spent inside the classroom. I have taught students from grade 4 all the way to fourth year um, MA students. I mean, all the way to postgraduate students. I finished journalism and literature in UST. That's where I also had my MA in creative writing, and that's where I also did my PhD in literature. And when I started teaching as early as 1988, 89, I never left the classroom until the pandemic when I decided to bring my seminars online. And in all these years, I've given seminars to more than 100,000 teachers in the Philippines, in Sri Lanka, in Kuala Lumpur, Malaysia, in Japan recently, Tokyo, in San Diego, California, and in New York and Washington, D.C. in the US. I've reached out to teachers, and along the way, I picked up these principles personally, principles of education. Number one, here is my firm belief. Um, okay, sabi ni Ma'am Eda, fluctuating internet. Um, let's have one, two, three. Three being okay, perfectly okay. One, if intermittent internet, can you please type in the chat box? One, two, or three. Three, if it's perfectly okay. One, if there is problematic, or two, if I am okay. So, Ma'am Eda, I think it's your internet because everyone is typing three. Don't worry, don't worry. This session is being recorded and you will have access to the recording so that whatever happens to your internet, it's okay. You will be able to get back to whatever you may have missed because of Wi-Fi problems. Here is my first principle of education. I firmly believe that every teacher, every good educator is a character formator. We are not just here covering the curriculum, teaching a subject. We are teaching children. We are forming young people to grow up to be good men and women. That's my firm belief because that's what I've seen among good teachers. Hindi lang sila nagtuturo ng math, ng science, ng English. Tinutulungan nila ang mga bata na lumaking mabuting tao. And we are going to go on to my second principle. Character formation, forming character is not just another subject. It's not just GMRC. It's not just values education. It is what every good teacher tries to do. Because education is not just about covering the curriculum. In fact, the pandemic showed us na lahat ng kailangang pag-aralan ng mga kabataan nasa internet na. Math, science, English, Filipino, social studies, nasa internet na lahat yan. But the young people cannot learn in the internet respect, responsibility, love for God, love for the country, patriotism, hard work. Only you and I, teachers and parents, are capable of teaching character, values, virtues to the young people. So, this is a very strong principle that I hold on to. We are not just given subjects to teach. We are entrusted with students to take care of. Kaya minsan, meron akong mga seminar ino-offer sa mga teachers. Ang title is Stop Teaching Subjects and Start Teaching Children. Stop teaching subjects and start teaching children. Think about it. Our concern is not just for these students to learn whatever subject you are assigned to handle. We are in the classroom in order to help these young people grow up to be good men and women. We are teaching them not just a subject, we are teaching them life. So, here's another principle I have. There's no other better way to teach character than through the powerful example of our life. Teachers, we teach the young people through what they see in us. Matututunan nila ang respect in the way we treat them with respect. Matututunan ng mga kabataan ng professionalism in the way we come inside the classroom every single day professionally. The young people will learn values, virtues, character from the example of our life. There's no other better way to do that. That's why, dear young teachers, especially among those of you who are just beginning this year, please believe me when I tell you, ikaw ang pinakamahalagang teaching tool inside the classroom. It's not the blackboard. It's not the textbook. It is not the video projector or the chalk or pentel. How do you call that? In the anong tawag yung tinatawag? Could you try that? Oops. So we are the most important teaching tool inside the classroom. Okay? You are. You and I are the most important teaching tool because from our life, from our example, matututunan ng mga kabataan ang mga mas mahalagang lessons in life. More than just subjects, more than just math, English, science, Filipino. Whatever subject you're teaching, more important than that is what they will see in you. In fact, the inspiration you give the students, the inspiration you teachers are capable of giving the students, walang makakatangay yan. That is priceless. That is worth more than the tuition that the young people are paying. And in the end, the school. Remember, I'm giving you my principles, the principles of education that I picked up in my 33 years inside the classroom. in my 11 years, 12 years now of giving seminars to teachers, to the more than 100,000 teachers around the Philippines and around the world, believe me when I tell you, the school is only as good as its teachers. Pag ang mga bata umuwi sa bahay in the evening, having dinner, kayo ang pinag-uusapan nila. Kayo ang kinikwento ng mga estudyante sa kanilang mga magulang. And the parents will judge the school according to the stories they will hear from their children about you, about how you took care of them, how you did the class today with excitement, or the opposite, how you lost your temper, how you shouted, screamed, and yelled. Those are the things na pinag-uusapan ng mga kabataan sa bahay with their parents. And that's why we teachers are the ones who will really are capable of determining how good or how bad the school is. The school is only as good as its teachers. And so our session today is like our way of reaching out to young teachers like you. Don't be afraid. Don't be scared. Be not afraid. You can be a great teacher. You will be a great teacher. In fact, if you have the proper mindset, if you have the proper disposition, if you will commit yourself to be one. Okay? So let's move on. Here are the top reasons, the top 5 reasons why teachers have a significant impact on students. Because we teachers are in a position to give students the knowledge and the skill development they need to be successful professionals. Yung mga tinuturo natin sa kanila, these are the things that will prepare them for college. Whatever course they will take up, and that college education is what will prepare them to be the best professionals they could possibly be. That's why we're very important. We are in a position to teach young people knowledge, skills they need to be successful in life. And when I say successful here, I don't just mean rich, but yes, we include that. We include their possibility of becoming successful professionals, earning a lot of money, becoming very productive, effective, popular, influential. We are the ones preparing them for that kind of life. Here's the second reason why we have significant impact on the students, because we provide them with mentorship and guidance. Sabi ko kanina sa introduction, and please be ready with this, one day, lalapit ang estudyante mo sa iyo, magtatanong ng questions that have nothing to do with your subject, but they need a guidance. They need somebody to talk to. They need somebody to listen to them about their problems in life, about their problems in their love life, about their problems with their brother, sister at home, with their parents. And you cannot say, ay, Ivo, wala akong alam tungkol dyan. Of course not. We will have to be ready to provide them with the mentorship and guidance that they look for. So, believe me, teachers, not minsan, but many times, students come inside our classroom not really looking for science, English, math, whatever subject. They're looking for answers to the big questions in life. In fact, very sad, but it's happening more and more. We teachers have to be ready to counsel a high school student who is going through depression, a high school student who has mental health issues, a high school student who is grappling with big problems in life na hindi nila makuha yung sagot sa bahay, maybe because the parents are not there, or maybe because wala silang kaibigan na that they can open up to. But you and I, we are the ones who will have to be ready to provide that mentorship and guidance. Such is the reality of life now. We are in that position. We have a significant impact on students because we influence them in our attitudes and in our values. That's why I emphasize one of the principles of education I mentioned earlier. All of us, teachers, are in a position to form character, to mold minds, to form attitudes and values. And so one of the strategies, one of the tips I will have to give you is, teachers, many times you will have to talk about your values to the students, even if it has nothing to do with the subject matter of the day. Sometimes you may need to comment on the headlines of the previous night's primetime news because the young people are not living in a vacuum. Alam nilang nangyayari sa mundo. Nanonood sila ng news, naririnig nila yan sa social media, nakikita nila yan sa TikTok, the corruption that we read about or we hear about in the news every day. They hear about those things, they know about those things, and they need to hear the proper people with the proper values talking about those things. Otherwise, if we do not talk about our values, our virtues, having the right attitude, well, matatalo tayo by default sa teleseries. Abay, doon sila matututo ng values at saka ng attitudes sa K-dramas, sa TikTok, sa uh, uh, ABS-CBN teleseries. No, let's not lose by default. Teachers, we have to talk in our classroom about our proper attitude, about our values. Such is the impact of the teacher. Number 4, emotional and social development. As I already mentioned earlier, one day, if it has not yet happened to you, lalapit ang estudyante sa iyo asking for emotional support, answer to big questions in life, especially when they come inside the classroom and they come from an irregular situation at home. And that is a very sad thing that is happening in Philippine society. We have more and more students coming inside our classroom and they come from irregular situation at home. Nag-separate ang parents, iniwan sila ng tatay, or maybe hindi naman, but the mother is in Dubai and the father is in Saudi. We have 12 million Filipinos now working abroad, and many of them left behind children of school age. And so, they come inside our classroom with those questions. Bakit pinili ng tatay ko ang iwan kami at magtrabaho abroad para makapagpadala ng dollars? These are questions that they have in their mind that they cannot ask their parents. And we are there. And we have to be ready many times to provide them with that emotional or social support that they cannot get elsewhere. And number 5, long-lasting impact on career and life choices. Because in fact, the truth is, some of us maybe decided to become teachers precisely because of the impact of one great teacher or another that we had in the past. Na-inspire tayo ng isang high school or even grade school teacher, kaya pinili natin ang pagiging teacher. Such is the impact of a teacher that they may even choose the kind of career. I know many people like that. They fell in love with math because of the math teacher. And so, pinili nila ang kanilang college course, accounting, engineering. They had such great science teacher, biology teacher. They decided, therefore, to go for medicine in college or science course. Ganun ang impact ng teachers. And you are in that position. Believe me, students look up to us more than you can ever imagine. That's why a good mindset, a good disposition is, bago ka pumasok ng classroom, iisipin mo, these students look up to me. They look up to the teacher. I have to make sure I give them an appropriate role model. I am an appropriate role model for them. A good example that they can really look up to. So that's the impact of the teacher. And that's why if we have that kind of mindset, disposition, then we can be super successful teachers. Ultimately, teachers have the power to inspire, motivate, and empower students to reach their full potential, both academically and personally. The positive influence of a dedicated and caring teacher can resonate throughout a student's entire life. Here's another important point to keep in mind, dear fellow teachers. Your influence on the students, your impact on the students is not just in the 10 months that they are inside the classroom. Okay? That's not just your impact. Your impact on the students is years. Truth of that is some of us continue looking back to some great teachers we had in the past, and they continue influencing us or having an impact even in the way we make decisions. Okay, so these are the top 5 reasons why teachers, why you have a significant impact on students. In other words, what we're saying is the stakes are high. Alam mo, pagka ang isang lamesa masira, madaling sabihin, sino bang gumawa nito? Ibalik nga yan sa karpintero. Pag ang isang computer, bumili ka ng computer, tapos hindi gumagana, madaling sabihin, ibalik nga yan dun sa tindahan, defective. Now, teachers, pag ang isang tao lumaking hindi mabuting tao, hindi natin pwedeng sabihin, sino bang grade 5 teacher nito? Ibalik nga sa grade 5 para turuan tungkol sa uprightness, honesty, sincerity, not cheating. Hindi eh. You cannot. So what we're saying here is you are given 10 months to leave a mark, to make an impact, to form, to mold the minds of these young people. We cannot afford to fail. We cannot afford to do a poor job in this task of forming character, molding minds, helping young people to grow up, not just smart, but especially good. Mediocrity for a teacher is not an option. Okay? Mediocrity is not an option. Now more than ever, believe me, dear teachers, especially those who are starting this year, you are needed very much by your students. As I said, kasi math, science, English, Philippine history, ay nasa internet na lahat yan. I-google lang nila lahat yan. I-chat GPT lang nila lahat yan. Makukuha na nila lahat ng kailangan nilang malaman tungkol sa subject. But not answers to the big questions in life. Like, why am I here in this world? Why did my Why did my father leave us? Why did my mother choose to work abroad? What These are the questions that they have in their mind that they need answers to, more than just the subject matter. Okay, so let's have the right mindset for success. Pag sinabi nating mindset, there's such a thing as growth mindset, and then there's such a thing as the fixed mindset. Growth mindset, encouraging the belief that abilities and intelligence can be developed through dedication and hard work. Sabi ko kanina, you will be a super successful teacher, but that will not come accidentally, chamba. That will not come very naturally. We have to work on it. We have to learn strategies. We have to discover ways of doing things. Here's fixed mindset. I'm either good at something or I'm not. That's a fixed mindset. But what I want you to have is a growth mindset. I can improve my skills with effort and practice. Matututunan ko yan. Mag-a-attend ako ng seminars. Magkukonsulta ako sa um, teachers in my school who have been there for 10, 20 years. Master teachers in my department. I will talk to them. I will observe their classes because I can improve my skills and I can learn from them. Now, um, we want to have all this. We want to have this mindset, and the best way to develop it is by trying to teach it. Try to teach the growth mindset among your students. And this is how you can apply it inside the classroom. Ask children if they have ever struggled to master a skill and then improved over time. Examples may include reading, writing neatly, riding a bike, or playing an instrument. You can also provide examples from your own life or the lives of famous people. So, make the students understand this too, that they can improve as they have improved in their life. That's developing growth mindset. And then children will see clear evidence that no one starts out as an expert and that they are capable of improvement. Yan ang growth mindset. And that's what we want also to develop in our students as we want to develop it in ourselves. Here's a fixed mindset. When people give me feedback, it feels like criticism. That's a fixed mindset. No, dear teachers, ito ang growth mindset. I appreciate when people give me feedback. It helps me learn and grow. So, teachers, pag kayo ay binigyan ng supervisor, ng principal, ng subject coordinator, ng negative feedback, take it as a way of improving. Don't feel bad. Don't think my principal does not like me. No, in fact, let me tell you this. I served as principal in Southridge School, intermediate school. And I've seen situations where the officers will say, itong teacher na to, parang hindi naman ma, ano, hindi naman mabigyan ng correction. Never mind, patapusin na lang natin yung school year. Huwag nating i-renew. Hindi natin i-renew ang kontrata niya. Patapusin na lang natin yung school year. And so, the attitude is stop giving him feedback because he's hopeless. But for as long as your principal, your subject coordinator, your supervisor is giving you correction, is giving you feedback, that means umaasa pa sila sa iyo that you can still be a good teacher, a successful teacher, a great one. Okay? So, don't look at feedback as a criticism. Don't look at feedback or even correction as a sign na hindi kayo gusto ng principal? Of course not. That's in fact a clear sign na gusto pa nila kayong maging mas mabuting teacher, mas effective, mas successful. Welcome feedback, especially negative ones that you can work on or that you should work on. The same thing you should apply inside the classroom. Whether at home or in the classroom, don't just give feedback, ask for it. Ask your students, for example, class, marami ang bumagsak ng quiz. Give me feedback. Why did many of you not do well in the quiz? Is it because hindi nyo naintindihan ang lesson? Or is it because hindi lang talaga kayo nag-aral? Or is it because you need a clearer explanation? And so I will have to work double time on making my explanation more clear or more easily understandable. That's a growth mindset. You welcome feedback because you want to do things better. Model gracefully accepting and learning from feedback. May ginagawa ako sa aking klase dati because some students may feel na if they give negative feedback, parang iniinsulto kayo. So, I would sometimes ask the students to give anonymous feedback, that they don't write their names on the paper, and then that they give feedback. Now, sometimes, of course, you will have to take it with a bit of a grain of salt. Na some students will say very negative things, pero it's not because they're being sincere. It's just immaturity, that they are not mature enough to be able to give proper feedback. But if you have 25, 35, or even 40 in a class, chances are may makikita kang maraming mas mature kind of feedback that you're going to receive. But personally, I appreciate very much, even if it's a feedback that comes from an immature student, because feedback can always be a way of growing, becoming better, improving. That's a growth mindset. Here's the fixed mindset. I'm just not good at math. Itong binigay na subject sa akin ng aking principal kasi yung math teacher na dapat magtuturo nito biglang nag-resign. So, suddenly I'm given this math to teach. Well, a growth mindset would say it's challenging, but I can improve. I can learn. I can consult the experts. I can um, spend more time learning the subject and how to teach it well, how to teach it better. That's growth mindset. And that's what we also have to tell the students. That's what we also have to help students develop. If a child is struggling with a specific subject at school, provide extra support and track progress. Parents can collaborate with the child's teacher and look for additional resources online or in person. And as the child's grades improve, emphasize how far they have come. Celebrate their hard work and progress, and then continue to encourage the belief that there is always room to learn and grow. Here's number 4, fixed mindset. I'm too shy to speak in front of the class, especially among the students. Meron tayong mga ganito usually na takot mag-recite. Kasi at the back of their mind, pag nagkamali sila, magtatawanan ng mga estudyante. I mean, no one ever wants to be laughed at. Well, we have to develop, even in ourselves, the growth mindset. With practice, I can become more confident and improve my public speaking skills. With practice. And that's what you will be doing day after day after day as a teacher, practically. Every single day that you're teaching in front of the class is like practicing to become a master teacher. You are inching your way to become a master teacher. When children express a specific concern, ask, what steps can we take to work on that? If the child is unsure, help them brainstorm. For example, a child who fears speaking in front of large groups can first practice with partners in a small group setting. And, like what we also mentioned earlier, celebrate even just little improvements or small progress and remind the child of how far they have come. Fixed mindset. I'm already a really good writer. I don't need to get any better. That's a fixed mindset. No, what we want to have is a growth mindset. I can still improve. There's always room for improvement. And this is a sign of a master teacher. Always looking for ways to learn new ways, new strategies, better ways of doing things more effectively. They observe master teachers. They visit classrooms asking permission from teachers. Uy, ma'am, can I sit in your class later and learn? How do you discipline the class? How do you get the students to do what you want them to do na hindi ka na kailangan sumigaw, magalit, mangonsumisyon? And you notice master teachers are able to do it with little effort. Yung bang a master teacher will just enter the classroom, tatahimik na yung mga estudyante. Wala namang sinabi si ma'am. Wala namang sinabi si sir. How does he do it? Learn, observe, steal ideas, borrow ideas from them. And then let's keep on reading. Many books are available. I'm going to share with you later some of them on how we can be better, more effective classroom managers. So, apply it inside the classroom with young writers, for instance. You can encourage them to expand their vocabulary or begin incorporating figurative language into their work. Ask them to write paragraphs instead of just a sentence, baby steps, little by little, but always improving. Okay, here's number 2, the right mindset for success. Believe in the potential of all students. Have high expectations. Valuing the unique qualities and abilities of each student and fostering a belief in their potential. Don't belittle the capabilities of the students. Always have that right. That is a very good mindset of when you enter the classroom, your expectation is these students are going to be successful. Some will just need more time, but all of them can be successful. If we have that kind of mindset, then it will make a big difference in the way we teach. The worst thing a teacher can do as a mindset and as a practice is to enter the classroom on day one and then tell the class, half of you here will fail. That will be prophetic. Most likely half of them will really do poorly because that is your mindset. That is your expectation. No, from the very beginning, we tell the students, class, you can be successful. This can be your most successful year if we work together. But you will have to work hard. But this can be your most successful year. So, the fixed mindset, people who are naturally smart don't need to try hard to succeed. That's a fixed mindset. The growth mindset is this. No one is born smart. Lahat tayo. We can improve with time, effort, and persistence. And that's what we are interested in seeing. Okay, I'm going to skip the application inside the classroom. Okay, sayang, the videos are not playing. Here's another fixed mindset. Other people's successes make me feel bad about myself. That's a bad fixed mindset. No, the growth mindset is this. Other people's successes encourage and inspire me. They show me what is possible. And so that's what we want to do even in our school. We look at those successful teachers and we try to learn from them. We try to copy them. We try to imitate some of their best practices. In fact, I always suggest this to schools whenever they consult me for how can we do things better. There should be opportunities for teachers to share best practices among themselves. In some faculty meetings, that can be a good agenda. No other topics to discuss, no problems to solve. Let us just share best practices. Best practices on how to address tardiness, for example. What do teachers do so that students are on time, are punctual? Or what are the best practices in classroom management? And then ask the senior teachers, how do you do it? What are the strategies that you use? What are the concrete things that you do so that students follow what you ask them to do without you ever having to lose your temper? Okay, here's the third right mindset for success: overcoming challenges and resilience. Teachers, hindi sa tinatakot ko kayo, pero the reality of it is no one promised you a rose garden. While we say that teaching is the one of the most noble professions, teaching is can enable you to make a difference, to make an impact, to leave a mark. Sure, those are true, but I also have to warn you, there may be ups and downs. There are, not maybe, but there are ups and downs in the life of a teacher. There will come a time when para bang yung teacher pa ang mas excited na marinig yung announcement ng cancellation of classes. Okay? Because may bagyo, because it's a Muslim feast day, or suddenly because FIBA opening and Malacanang says, let's clear the streets, so no classes. Parang mas excited pa ang teacher na madinig yun. Because you, at a certain point, can get tired. You will get tired. If you are striving to be the best teachers you can possibly be, teaching becomes tiring. And I have to warn you, please take care of yourself so that you don't get burnt out. In fact, one of the seminars I have available in the YouTube channel that I'm going to share with you later is precisely about that, teacher burnout. So you can be a successful teacher if you know how to overcome challenges and if you're resilient. Building resilience and perseverance to overcome obstacles and setbacks. So, how do we work on that? Fixed mindset. Successful people are lucky, talented, and have never experienced failure. Nope, that's a fixed mindset. Let's change it. The growth mindset is failure is part of success. Most successful people have failed many times, but they succeeded because they did not quit. So, what I want you to have as a mindset, in fact, teachers, is this profession can be your career, can be your lifetime career. And your success as a teacher is not necessarily becoming a principal, becoming an officer. No, your success as a teacher can simply be you become a master teacher, making a difference in the lives of new batch of students year after year after year. And some of them, 10 years from now, 20 years from now, magbabalikan at magpapasalamat sa iyo. Sasabihin nila, thank you very much, ma'am. I am who I am because of you. And yet, you look back at your years as a teacher and you know there were some times, there were some occasions when you failed, when you did not do as well, when you maybe even lost your temper, you shouted, you screamed, you yelled. But those failures were only opportunities for you to learn and then to strive harder so that you become successful eventually. Fixed mindset. It is embarrassing when I make a mistake. That's a wrong mindset. Here's the growth mindset. Please believe me, everyone makes mistakes and they are opportunities to learn. Especially because you're young teachers, you're beginning, along the way, you may fail here and there. Hindi ka nakasubmit ng unit plans on time. Hindi mo nagawa ng as perfectly as possible yung computation ng grades. Okay. But you learned that next time around, you will be more careful. Next time around, you will be more patient. Next time around, you will never resort to shouting, screaming, yelling, hurting, or harming. Here's another fixed mindset. If I don't try new or hard things, then I won't fail. So, comfort zone. No, growth mindset is this. I have to try new and difficult things in order to grow, even if I fail at first. Teachers, 75% of students, according to research, said that they looked up to teachers as mentors and role models. 79% of students said yung teachers nila encouraged them to follow their dreams. In short, how the students are going to be in the future depends on how you now help them, guide them, mentor them. The future is in your hands. The future of the world is in my classroom today. I mean, think about it. In fact, the truth of the matter is how Philippine society is going to be in the future. The leaders of tomorrow, how they are going to be, depends on how we prepare them now, how we teach them honesty, uprightness, truthfulness, caring, helpful, and not stealing, cheating, corrupt. How the students are going to grow up to be, more or less, is how we are preparing them right now inside our classroom. Such is a nobility of our job as teachers. Okay? This is important so that eventually, having the right mindset, we will have the right disposition. Let me share with you 8 things that we teachers can do to help students succeed. Because in the end, if we have that kind of disposition, if we have that kind of mindset that we are after the success of the students, everything else will follow. Okay? Here's the first one. And we already mentioned it kanina. Set high expectations. High expectations that your students will succeed. that they eventually will be better, not just smart, but especially good people. And di ba ganun yung teachers na tiningala natin, nagtiwala sa atin. They believed in us. And those are the teachers that really motivated us to succeed, to be better, to learn, and then eventually to achieve whatever we have set for ourselves as goals. Number two, and we're going to talk about this in one of the 5 sessions of this series, establish a classroom routine. Your classroom has to be like a well-oiled machine. Students know exactly how things are run. And we're going to talk about that, how to establish routine, how to how to establish procedures that students will do over and over and over again until they become routine. Practice the daily 5. According to experts, if the students see that there are always parang repetitive things that they are expected to do inside the classroom, then they are most likely going to follow your procedures and routines. 5 things that you will always do in the classroom. Either it's in some schools, they begin with a prayer, that they greet the teacher, that they stand by their desk and wait for the teacher to greet them, and then they sit down. The way they end the class, the way they say, the way the teacher gets them to fix up the room before the end of the class, whatever it is, the daily 5 that you will do with your class, that they start seeing the pattern and that they expect this class is going to be run this way. 4, continually grow in your profession. And this is one of the, I mean, this is the main purpose of this series for the new teachers. Hindi pa tayo nagsisimula sa malaking problema ng pagiging teacher, we already have what it takes to be professional, that we have what it takes to be successful as professional teachers. Number 5, help students climb Bloom's taxonomy pyramid. You're familiar with this, especially for those of you who may have taken up education. We were taught this. But the idea here is, dapat hindi lang yung subject natin ay puro memorization. Number 1 lang yun. That's only the lowest. Our objective is that our students, as we teach them, we design our lesson that they are able to understand it. That's second. And not only understand it, but apply it. And then do an analysis, an evaluation, and even create, to show, to demonstrate, to exhibit that they have understood the lesson. So with that, you are leading them along an inclined plane, that they are going up, that they are improving. And then at the end of your year with them, sasabihin nila, ang hirap ng subject, pero natuto kami. Natuto kaming hindi lang i-memorize, but that we understood, that we were able to apply, that we were able to analyze, evaluate, and even produce, come up with, exhibit, demonstrate. Number 6, vary your instruction. A warning: one of the worst ways of teaching is just to be ahead of the students by 1 chapter in the textbook. And the students find the class boring because the teacher is just going over the textbook. And the students will start thinking, di sana hindi na ako nag-enroll. Gagamitin ko na lang yung textbook. Ano pang kailangan ng teacher? Ano pang purpose ng teacher? So we vary our instruction. Today, we will make them do a debate. And then the next meeting, they will do paired discussion. And then the next meeting, we were made to read and then to share. That it becomes like a, how do you call that? Unpredictable, because we use a whole variety of instructions, and all those can be learned, and in fact are learned by a good teacher. Knowing also that students learn in different ways. We have such a thing as visual students, auditory students, tactile students, that they kinesthetic, that they have to be doing, that they learn better when they are reading on their own, not sharing with other. Each to his own. Everyone learns in different ways, and it's good to get to know the our students so that we are able to teach them according to how they're going to learn. There is such a thing as differentiated instruction, but that is for another seminar or another topic. That students have different learning styles, and therefore we have to find ways of being able to reach out to every one of them who have different ways of learning. Okay, number 7, this is the second to the last. Show that you care about every student, especially care that they don't just pass the subject. You care enough for them that they will be a good human being, a successful human being. If that is your mindset and disposition, you will be a great teacher. That you are not just after them passing a subject, you want to see them grow up to be successful as a human being. And finally, number 8, be transparent and ready to help. And yes, be transparent enough to your principal, supervisor, coordinator, or whoever is on top of you. Say so if you need help. Say so if you have difficulties or problems inside the classroom, or about lesson planning, or about unit planning. Speak up. Be transparent. Asking for help is not a sign of weakness. It's a sign that you want to be better, that you want to be successful.